It's looking generally dry and still be piled
sides and then just a little bit off the top.
This is what's happening overnight, and we'll find the winter in Scotland, a lot of low cloud, western Scotland, and all that, all plastic. A few breaks elsewhere, and even developing across the southern areas where we've got with all some misting fog forming as well, and it'll take a little while to lift in the morning. That's underneath an area of high pressure, that's keeping it quiet and generally dry. To the north of the high latitude that goes into southern Scotland, the south of the water cloud, some races and sometimes it used to the canals. Following that weather in Scotland, in northern Scotland, which is large patches of short or shower. Here, things are going to get a little colder. Probably going to be a little bit then they'll get swept away with standing over the sea, outputting and building back into the UK over the course of the weekend, so it keeps it generally dry. There'll be a lot of cloud around on Saturday, but with the winds coming in from the continent, you get drier on Sunday. That's the UK, that is the rate of income taxes, and national insurance paid by employees, plus VAT. Income tax threshold will be unfrozen from now to 2023. The residential public spending next year, £17.6 billion for day-to-day spending on the other person in England, plus extra money for schools, around £6.7 billion for the financial year. The minimum wage will go up for over 21, rising from £11.44 an hour to £12.71 an hour. There was an announcement that home builders will be affordable homes budget increases by £500 million. On transport, confirmation. On the level of frequency forecast is reduced under these times in the last few years of this time. So I have things coming in this document that I think we'll hear more about in the next few days. Disposable income. The increase in disposable income that is forecast has been reduced. Mortgage rates are projected under these plans to go up. Interest is projected to go up a small bit as well. Nothing like the sort of levels we saw when we saw massive economic shocks after those present campaigns. Many budget, but changes nevertheless. There'll be, I think, a big political debate about how this budget will be seen is going to play out over the next few days, weeks and months. About half an hour ago we heard from the man who the last budget before this one, the former Chancellor and Shadow Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt.
This is not a debate about getting more funding for the NHS and public services. They need more money. We found more money when we were in power. We fully recognise that. The choice is whether you find that extra money through tax rises that are incredibly damaging to the economy, or whether you're prepared to take difficult decisions like welfare reform, economic sector productivity, and find the money in a different way. The result of what the government has done today with very damaging tax rises for ordinary families, it's going to be lower wages, higher mortgages, higher prices, living standards going down. That's according to their own economic watchdog, the OBR. And that just goes to show that when the Labour government puts up taxes, however they dress it up, it's ordinary families that pay the price.
The argument they would make in response is that we have had to make difficult choices, and their choice is to put some taxes up, particularly on businesses and on people's paychecks, to make sure people get the public services that have been neglected over the last few years.
Well, if we got our welfare rolls down to 2019 levels, just before the pandemic, we would save £34 billion a year. And those are difficult decisions. And what happens is the government deduct those decisions and take an easy path, which is to pick the pockets of businesses. But what their own watchdog, the OBR, says is that actually means lower living standards for ordinary families, lower wages, higher prices, higher mortgages. In other words, how much they try and mask it as not affecting working people. When Labour raise taxes, it's working people that pay the price.
Jeremy Hunt, the former Chancellor. I do think that's an argument, Matthew, that's going to continue over the next few days, because in this big blue book from the Office for Budget Responsibility, they talk about that increase in national insurance contributions for employers. The government made a big thing about saying this won't come off people's paychecks, but the OBR says that it presumes that 76% of the total cost is passed on through lower wages over time. So that sort of debate will play out over the next few days. What the government has tried to do is say, we are a new government and we are prepared to make difficult choices to rebuild public services that crumble. We're focusing on things.
Economic stability. We had a record-breaking international investment summit just a couple of weeks ago, and businesses
I'm
say to
talking
me,
about those small businesses
well, as I
employing people, employing additional people, keeping wage rates at the rate they are currently. How does any of what you've announced today encourage them with taking on more people?
well, I was coming on to that. Businesses need a healthy and well-educated workforce, and under the last government, we've seen record levels of inactivity and record levels of people who are unable to work because we have 7.5 million people in the first working work. I think businesses will understand a way around that. Something needed to be done with the investment in this sector because clear public services are bad for everyone, but they're particularly bad if you're an employer looking to employ new people. So make people at home and employees healthy. So we've had some big problems that we've had to fix. That's why it's been such a big budget. But we've got to go to the solid housing, housing and investment.
Of course, the NHS protected, and keep money heading towards education, but those other unprotected departments are going to take a hit in terms of transport, justice. You're pressing ahead with the various welfare benefits that the last government were planning to cut. It's going to be very painful for those departments, isn't it?
Well,
I can't
I'm also a minister in the DWP.